Hello. So I've chosen assessment and I've just got a quick spiel there, but I'll just jump into it. So what is assessment? Assessment is a collection of information about children's development, learning, and well-being that is completed over time. Educators observe and analyse children's communications and interactions to compare their achievements and competency against the early years learning framework of 5 learning outcomes. Assessments help inform educators about what the students already know, which therefore informs our future pedagogy. So the types of assessment are assessment for children's learning, which are formative, assessment as learning, and assessment of learning, which is summative. The 3 types of assessments, I've already said that. Assessment for children's learning, formative assessments, is when information about what children know, can do, and what they understand is gathered to inform pedagogy and planning. This describes the children's progress and identifies their strengths, skills, and understandings. Assessment as learning is utilised to facilitate children's awareness, contributions, and appreciation of their learning. Children reflect on their learning and develop an understanding of themselves as learners, what they like to learn, and how they learn best. This highlights the importance of children being active participants, emphasising the need to implement feedback to grow and become independent lifelong learners. Assessment of learning, summative assessments, is when educators review children's achievements and capabilities at specific time points, such as during their transition into the early childhood setting, mid-year, or before they transition to school. Assessment of learning is ultimately to show evidence of the student's learning. Examples of assessments include observations, anecdotal records, portfolios, and learning stories. What does the research say? So the research says it has to be developmentally appropriate, holistic in nature, and child-led. Developmentally appropriate assessments are activities designed by educators that are suited to the developmental stage and individual needs of children and that aim to support the success of children in early childhood education settings. These assessments aim to recognise that young children learn in diverse ways and at different rates. Comparing children against each other contributes to educational inequities and can harm development. Educators must observe children's behaviour within a natural setting to determine their abilities across multiple developmental domains, e.g. physical, cognitive, linguistic, and social, emotional. They then compare the child against themselves, not other students. It's noteworthy that children have different backgrounds and cultures. Students attend childhood centres with varying prior knowledge and experiences, and we cannot judge students learning against others, only themselves. The Early Years Learning Framework notes the different developmental needs of children and highlights the importance that all holistic domains are met. Natural observations enable educators to identify each child's individual learning style, strengths, and interests within authentic contexts. These observations without teacher intervention provide a raw insight into children's social, emotional, and physical capabilities. Making assessments child-led provides kids the opportunity to become engaged and committed to their learning. Students work on portfolios where they showcase their progress and provide work they're proud of. Students display their strengths and their skills and capabilities are evident. Children also feel empowered as they display their learning experiences. So how is this valuable to me as an educator? It helps me formulate short and long-term goals, informs my pedagogy, identify children's developmental needs, and informs my self-reflection. Using assessment and evaluating information allows me as an educator, in collaboration with children, families, and other professionals, to come up with short and long-term learning goals for individuals. Assessment helps guide my curriculum planning and pedagogy as it identifies developmental needs, monitors progress, and furthers my teaching skills. Identifying developmental needs allow me to understand where children are holistically and where I need to fill their knowledge gaps. I can provide personalised learning and tailor my delivery to ensure that children are reaching the zone of proximal development. Utilising assessments means I can provide activities that interest the kids and support their learning. Once identifying their needs and tailoring my teaching, I can track their progress. I then repeat this process until the child succeeds in their learning outcomes. Adjusting the curriculum to support children can only be done through assessing and monitoring. Assessment allows myself to reflect on the effectiveness of my teaching strategies. If the children's assessments show that a particular approach isn't engaging, I can adjust my methods. Assessment is useful to me as a teacher to build relationships with stakeholders. Parents want to be informed about their children's strengths and needs. I can only provide a report if I have adequately assessed each child. Sharing the results of assessments invites families to engage in their children's learning. Better outcomes are achieved when myself and parents are on the same page about their child's development. So in the decision-making cycle, it will be phase 2, and as we can see on the poster. The EYLF supports curriculum decision-making as a continuous cycle of planning, assessment, and critical reflection. Once observing the students' behaviour and skills, teachers assess them against the criteria and the learning framework. After assessing and determining their strengths and developing areas, the next stage is planning. New activities or teacher strategies cannot be implemented if assessment of the child hasn't occurred. Assessment serves as the foundation for developing and implementing effective educational programs. It involves educators making intentional choices about how to best support children's learning, development, and well-being. Assessment allows the curriculum to be responsive, aligned with students' needs, and focused on continuous improvement. So how would I implement this? Assessment can be introduced at the start of a new topic to assess children's prior knowledge. Assessments can be informal and include conversations and open-ended questions as well as observations. Observing their play and talking to children lets educators gauge their interest to inform their teaching about individual topics. I'm running out of time. So implementing this would be in real time and ongoing, pre-activity as I just spoke about, and post-activity as a summary to see how they've developed and what new skills that they've learnt. And weekly, monthly summaries. This would include photos, notes, portfolios, and this just gives an ultimate conclusive look at their progress on a larger scale. And then ethical implications, obviously privacy. Don't post photos on the internet of kids and what they're doing. Inclusive, make sure that all kids are included, like no kids getting left behind. If they have a disability or something that needs to be adapted to, then adapt to overcome that and include the child. Okay, thank you.